Salutations and good evening, fellow Marauders. It's your boy Kels, back with another Yuletide festive episode of the Culture Marauders podcast, rolling into the new year. And this, of course, is the show where we maraud on all culture and deliver the goods to the masses. We appreciate y'all tuning in yet again, showing your boy some love at the end of the year. It's been a rough year, as it's been for all of y'all. But hey, we're going to bring it on home for y'all. So welcome. Sit tight. This is going to be a good episode. This is the Culture Marauders end of year wrap up, and boy, we got some shit to touch on. So, yeah. So, hey, we got a really fun episode. This is Wednesday, December 30th. We're in the home stretch, the dog days of 2020, which has kind of felt like it's been that way since about April. But yeah, we're gonna rock with this. So, so with that being said, yeah, this is the farewell to the disaster that was 2020. A year that gave so little, but yet took so much from all of us, I'm sure. And I'm pretty glad to say adios to this motherfucker. So the sooner the better. Let's go and get it on out and high hopes. But speaking of high hopes, I had high hopes for 2020. There's a lot of dope movies coming out. It fucked up my Marvel rotation. I was looking forward to Black Widow. I was looking forward to Soul. I was even looking forward to Wonder Woman until I watched it. And then that kind of changed. But, it's 2020. It's still 2020, right? So we're going to go ahead and move on. But we got a great show for y'all, man. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. And like I said, we're marauding on the year 2020, the year that was, the year of such disappointment and anger. And I mean, I don't have the dictionary to throw it out there, but, a pretty fucked up year in short. So with me are two creators, two podcast hosts out there who have were generous to me throughout the year, reached out to your boy Kels, allowed me to come on and show my ass or try to drop some knowledge on this show. And I'm just trying to be a good guy and show some love and get them back out here and in front of you and promote. And I got my man, Mike Wallace from Wack Brackets. Hey, what's up, Mike?
You know what? It's been a crazy year. That's what's up. But the one thing you were saying that, what were you saying about, bring this dog home or whatever. I can't remember what you said. But yep. At the end of the day, this thing has felt like we've aged in dog years. It feels like it's 2027 now, and I'm ready to cash some Social Security checks, retire. Unfortunately, my bank account isn't ready for that yet. But no, it's been fun. Being on the show, I do appreciate you reaching out. I've had you on several times.
Yes.
It's a great time with you. So this was. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with you, meeting Leah here. She sounds like a great gal. Apparently, she can drink 13 shots without a hangover, so she's my new hero. I'm pretty impressed by that. And then, let's just have some fun and let's go marauding, guys.
There it is. So, tell us a little bit about Wack Brackets, your show.
You know what? Wack Brackets, we're asking the burning questions that you never knew you wanted answered until we ask them. We bring on fellow podcasters and friends of the show, such as Kels, who is both a podcaster and a friend of the show and a friend. We've talked quite a bit this year, probably as much as I have to anybody outside of my family, honestly, it seems.
Right. That's right.
During the show, we just bracket off crazy things and just try to keep it fun. I think one episode we bracketed off restaurants. Another episode we bracketed off strip mall stores. Can't remember the third one. But
I don't think we got to a third one. We did the strip mall show. We talked about the pawn shops and shit.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. That was one of my favorites. I have so many great podcasters. I'm so lucky to have met so many people this year. I know we were talking. I won't hijack the good of this year, but I think one of my favorite parts of this year is getting to meet a whole metric fuck ton of new people this year, and it's been a blast.
How do you weigh a metric fuck ton?
It's a little. I'm guessing it depends on your conversion from pounds, because like a metric or a fuck pound versus a metric fuck ton. I don't know. It's a long story short. The conversion chart. I didn't do so well in the schooling, so I really, unless you give me like a slide rule or an abacus or some bullshit, I'm not going to be able to finish this off. But we'll just say it's a lot.
All right, fair enough. You're a man that knows his weaknesses, and you didn't try to bullshit us, so I appreciate that. Thank you. So, also joining us is Leah Johnson, the host of the Taking Up Space podcast. Welcome, Leah.
Hey, thank you for having me. And it's actually take up space. A lot of people say taking up space.
All right, Let me do that again. Joining me It's Leah Johnson.
I'm the one taking up space here. She is take up space. Mike is taking up space. There you go.
My sincerest apology. I'm sorry. Take Up Space podcast. So welcome, Leah.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's been a pretty tumultuous year, but I feel like with the perspective shift, I feel like I've had way more wins than I've had losses. So, just I guess since we're using the metric system,
Yes.
I think that my wins like far outweigh the losses that I've had. Like losses are still there, still great, but I feel like I've had a lot more wins because the wins were just unexpected.
You know what? I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it because I was about to go on this long ass ride with y'all about ups and downs. That's what the show's for, right? So I'm gonna save it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So this is what I do with all my guests, and we've of course met already, but now you're on this show. So now I'm gonna break you in right. And if you want to earn your Marauder card, we got to go through the icebreaker. Round, right?
Okay. I got to show you this, Kels. I got my Marauder pin on. I'm official today.
Oh,
what? Wait, I didn't know you had merch. What?
I did, but I kind of gave it all away like really soon at like shows and concerts and stuff. Hey, I was in LA and I had t-shirts. Leah,
when you think you made a friend in the podcast community.
See, that's 2020 for you. You don't believe everything you see. I will get you some merch, Leah. Gee. All right. So this is a game that we play with our guests called One's Gotta Go. It's one of those things where you got 4 different options and you got to get rid of one.
Okay.
Get rid of one and keep the rest. So I've been doing this. I'm still waiting on a sponsorship from One's Gotta Go. It's never too late, you guys. So if y'all are sitting there watching, you know anybody with connection to One's Gotta Go. I see them all the time on Instagram. I've reached out to them and yet I've received nothing. So I'm gonna keep pushing and asking. So One's Gotta Go. I like y'all better than a lot of the other products out there, and that's saying a lot. So remember your boy Kels. All right, ladies first, Leah. So
okay.
This is the one. One's Gotta Go. So I got 4 different options I'm gonna ask you, and one of them you got to cut out. Never to see again. Never to be heard from again. Right?
Okay.
One's Gotta Go. Money, sex, weed, or travel?
Okay, so like here's what I'm thinking, because my initial thought is money, because we would just revert back to the barter system.
Okay,
so that's replaceable easily. I don't want to live in a Demolition Man world where sex is just done like virtually.
Right.
Weed I can take or leave. Because I mean, we still
like
have.
Take or leave on the go when you go somewhere. Can you?
I can take it or leave it. It's not going to make or break me.
All right.
And what was the last one? What was the 4th one?
Travel.
I have to travel. I have to travel. So I think money would have to go, because we can get to the barter system. That's fine.
Okay, so money's gone, so you keep sex, weed.
Then that way we can get rid of debt and just look. I'm bartering different things, and they may start bartering sex. You never know. It happens. It happens now.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
It happens now.
Yeah, and people do it for less. So So. All right. So you said money has to go. All right. Okay, that's respectable. All right. Okay. All right, Mike, you're up for this one.
All right.
Gotta go. Yep. The ability to orgasm, clean bed sheets, clean underwear, or clean clothes. One's got to go.
Shit.
Oh my gosh, that is a terrible one. Why?
Yeah, well,
at least mine was easy.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike.
So the ability to orgasm, clean bed sheets, clean underwear, or clean clothes.
Yep.
I'm going to play the nerd card here. Here's the thing I'm going to say. is I don't go free balling.
All right.
But I think if I had to, I could. And if nothing else, I could wear a pair of shorts under my pants. So at that point, I could wash both. So again, I'm cheating. Now, if we're talking about not cheating, and I have to choose one where you can't cheat. In a world that you can't cheat, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I don't wash my sheets now. They're probably fucking 3 years dirty.
I was going to ask you, right? So I was like, we were all single guys at one point. Did you ever think to wash your sheets when you were a single guy?
I didn't have a washing machine. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
What?
Damn.
No. I was a filthy fuck.
Every week and a half, like clockwork, I am taking the sheets off and rotating my sheets out.
No.
And my wife got me, like, I was bad with it, man. And like, all the stuff you're doing in it, and you don't think about that till you got a little wisdom on you, at least perceived wisdom. You're like, man, I was nasty.
Wisdom until you got wisdom on it or wisdom on it.
Like, I scratched my back on that spot in the sheet.
That's the wet spot. No, I don't need to be over there. No.
Just avoid that part. Once it's wet, you avoid that side of the bed. And then when both sides are wet, you just start sleeping on the couch.
That spot is scorched earth. You can't go back there, man.
Oh my gosh.
So look, I was looking at the clean underwear thing, right? For let's take an average pair of drawers. You got 4 good wears out of that. Regular, inside out, turn it around. That's 4 good wears. You could do that.
Sir.
I'm saying I know somebody, right, who could do that. Not me.
No.
But,
no.
All right.
I guess
you don't need to be friends with those people. Those type of people. No. Absolutely. There is no point in time where you're just like, I'm putting on dirty underwear today. Okay, I know I've worn these already, but I'm going to wear them again. I don't care if you flip. No, absolutely not.
Leah, look. This is coming from the person who down 13 shots. This is where you draw the line, dirty draws.
My stuff is clean, okay? I'm clean. Clean. I'm not yakking on anybody's porch. My sheets stay clean. Wash my pillow.
That's why they don't have anything on the walls behind you, because you don't like the dust. I bet you ain't got furniture in your house. You want to just keep it clean. No, see, that's the thing. I like shit, and I don't mind if it's dirty.
Like, I dust. Well, actually, I'm visiting, so I'm at someone else's house now. So I'm actually in a closet, so that's why there's nothing on the walls. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, the good news is, even though, hey, y'all look down on me for 4 different wears of the same pair of drawers,
I
didn't look down on you.
You guys have been granted your Maraudership, so welcome. If you haven't been welcomed already, you're in the fam. So appreciate it.
We're not shaking hands. I just want you to know. We're not gonna shake hands.
No. All right. I know shit. So again, y'all, that's the one's gotta go. All jokes aside, it's a dope game. I like doing it. That's my icebreaker for the show. We have some fun with it. So if it's out there, y'all can grab it. Definitely do so. So, like I said, we're marauding tonight on the year that was 2020, and there's a lot of ups and downs in this, and I'm sure all of y'all, the one person I see watching and listening right now can attest to it. There's some ups and downs throughout the year, and we're gonna get into those. So I like to start with the bad first. If I'm we lost that person. Damn, turn off. So I like to start with the bad stuff, before you get to the good, right? I was always taught you got to get somebody the shit sandwich, right? The good news, the bad news, and then some good news. We're going to do it opposite, right? So we're going to just go ahead and just get to the shit. So get your good, healthy bite. So here we go. I'm calling this first portion, right? What the fuck, right? And basically, at some point throughout this year, we've all said this. I don't care if you're old, young, mute, whatever. You had a what the fuck moment at some point this year. So I'm going to go ahead and let Leah kick it off. What was your first initial what the fuck moment of 2020?
When I came out of church and they were like, Kobe passed. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, Kobe who?
Like the founder of Kobe Steakhouse? Like, yeah, it just didn't seem real or something.
Hold on, wait, what? So, no matter how many times I refreshed Twitter, no matter how many, it was just, and it wasn't like it was just so unexpected at that point. I was just like, and I think what that happened, in
January?
Yeah. And that was around the time of the fires in Australia. And I was like, oh, is this how this is going? This is what we're doing this year. This is how we're starting off the year. Okay. All right. That was probably my first moment of just like, okay, we need to take a beat. Maybe we need to start over, get back into it in February. We had a rough start in January. We're going to get back into it and try it again. Yeah. But then by that time, COVID cases had already start popping up in China. And I was like, I'm going to go sit down somewhere. that's literally, that's what it was. Like my very first, like, oh.
She's going to go take 13 shots somewhere.
Yeah, this is a lot. This is a lot.
And that was a lot just for the first month, right?
Month,
that was a lot of shit. And for me, I'll go next. For me, it was the death of Kobe. I remember my wife I think she went to go get her nails done or something, and I was home with the kids, and somebody texted me. It said, "Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant." I'm like, what? And first thing you do, turn on the TV, like,
right?
No way. And I saw it, and I was like, it hit me. I was like, oh shit! I was like, no way. And then I checked, and I saw. I was like, oh my god! And it felt like a kick in the stomach, like you lost something that you knew. And that was some pain I hadn't felt in years. I'm talking about years. And we didn't even know the guy, but you knew of him. You basically watched this guy grow up. If you watch basketball. From a certain age, you watch the ups, the downs, and the redemption at the end, and what he was transitioning to, after life, after basketball, and then to find out, there was others, and then his daughter, man, like it was rough. It was like a huge kick in the gut. The COVID thing, it really didn't hit me until later. But what really, my what the fuck moment was when America kind of looked in the mirror finally. With what was going on with the racism and everything, and just like basically a good portion of America's like, you know what, enough of this shit. Like this shit is wrong. Like we gotta cut this shit off now. So that was like my big, what the fuck moment, and just looking at how, it's almost like we were repeating history. In a sense, we were history again, and like I actually felt, and I'm sure it wasn't to the extent of what it was back in the 60s, and before, prior to that, but we got a taste of what it felt like to be Black in America during times of systemic racism and overt racism just in your face that, our grandparents and our parents and so on had felt. And we got a taste of that. And, yeah, man, that was a really, really big eye-opening moment. So that was my what the fuck moment for the year. What about you, Mike?
Man, you guys got serious on this. So, and it's, I mean, no, that's, I don't have those experiences, obviously. Right. It's particularly like, like Kel's experience, and 100% right with that. I mean, it's, I was thinking of that just, I would try to do a recap, look kind of the things that happened this year. And I was only half joking when it feels like this has felt like several years.
Yeah.
This entire year felt so exhaustingly long that it's amazing that so much happened in such a short period of time. So many things that were impactful and have seemed important. Or we won't even touch on a presidential election. Yeah. We won't touch on COVID-19, which obviously has been pretty much what's defined the year in a lot of ways. But the thing that I'm going to say is a bit funnier, I guess funnier, but in reality, it kind of set the tone for the year, because I think this is grossly overrated, but I knew this shit was going to hit the fan when people were telling me that Tiger King was good. I was like,
I almost forgot Tiger King was this year.
On my notes.
My gosh. I forgot that was this year.
And everybody was swearing up and down, this is so great. And I'm like, okay, I get that you can't get outside because of COVID-19, but you got to find a better fucking hobby, because these people are crazy.
The Big Cat Sanctuary is right down the road from my house.
Oh shit, really?
No shit. I kid you not. That shit is 5 miles down the road from my house.
I didn't realize that many celebrities have been there. I was like, is this a real place? And then like looking it up, like Beyonce was there, one of the other presidents have been there. I was like, wait a minute. This place is like legit real. It's not like Neverland. Like it's really real.
Well, Carol Baskins, she has the Big Cat Sanctuary, but Joe Exotic, he had that shit out in like, what was it, Oklahoma or some weirdo shit like that, like wherever he was at. So I don't know if anybody. The one that's down here, I think, ran a little bit better. Well, clearly a lot better. But but yeah, that's just right down the road, man. I tried to get Carol on, man, but they told me to kick off. So I'll try again.
Well, I couldn't even get into the show. I watched like the first episode and a half. People are losing arms and shit, and this guy's crazy. And I'm just like, I can't watch this shit.
No.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? I think this is a troll. I think what's going to happen is in about 3 years we're going to find out this is all just a big troll. And they're like, no, we were actors. We were just seeing if you guys would watch and believe this shit. And the most fucked up thing, Carol Baskin's on Dancing with the Stars like 5 months later.
Like nothing happened, right?
Oh.
She's out there cutting.
This all happened this year.
She's out there foxtrotting and shit while people are dying and going to jail and all kinds of weirdo stuff, man. Like, yeah, that was some wild stuff.
But I knew the year was going to be really fucked when Tiger King hit the mainstream, because this is one of those shows you see on Netflix, and it's like, okay, you start when you start scrolling through Netflix because you watched everything, you're like, fuck,
yeah.
Fuck. Here's a Netflix original. Here's Joe Eats a Booger. Oh, you know what? Oh, here's another Netflix original. Here's Wally wipes his ass on the wall. Oh, here's the Tiger King. I'll watch this.
Yeah, hey, I ain't got shit else to do. So
I don't know why. Like, I've never seen it, and I don't know why there was like so much hype around. I was like, this got even more like coverage than Jingle Jangle. And I was just like,
a lot more. Not even
why? Why?
Tiger King is the wackest shit I've seen. No offense, Mike, to Wack Brackets, but this is the wackest shit I've seen.
I don't want to go that whack, man. There's a lot of levels you don't want to reach. Okay, and I won't use the quote from the movie Tropic Thunder, but there's a line in Tropic Thunder that is.
Yes, exactly.
We're just gonna say that he's not wrong. He's not wrong. And Wack Brackets won't go Tiger King whack. We're just going to put it that way.
It's a new category, Tiger King whack.
Right? Mike Carroll says Carol Baskin is his mom. So sorry, Mike. Sorry to hear that. Tell her she dances like shit and she totally killed that dude allegedly.
He's lying. He's lying. I've served with that guy. His mom is not Carol Baskin.
I've eaten a lot of Baskin Robbins, but I don't know no Carol Baskin.
That is. You know, one thing that I wish that I probably would have done, like, even though I've met so many people this year, so many people, I really wish that I could have communicated with people like yourself, Mike, who have had wildly different perspectives of how their year is going. Because, of course, being in the Black community, we have very similar ways to view things. Our perceptions are a little bit different based on culture, but we have very similar ways because we deal with a lot of the same systemic things, right? And even when I did try to reach out to different people to like understand, okay, what is it that you're dealing with? A lot of them come off like, the world doesn't affect me. I live in my own bubble. Like I'm too rich to deal with peasants. And I'm just like, you are a half a generation removed from the projects. Like, what are you talking about? What do you have to check your bank account before getting extra avocado? Like, come on. Come on. Like, you're not that high sedity. Get your life together.
I'm gonna steal that line. You have to check your bank account before you get extra avocado. I love it.
That's legit. Like, I'm just like, we're working the same job, but I just want to understand. Like, I understand that COVID has affected everybody in some way, but like, I'm talking about like the social, political issues. Like, how do you see those? How are people just also like I did meet technically, I met a guy who's first generation Jamaican, I think, who is a Trump supporter. And he was like, Trump is the second coming of Christ and like he needs to go for another term and he's the only one who's going to save Black people. And I was just like,
not Candace Owens?
That bitch is crazy.
You just made me so hot right now. Oh my God. Because Kels and I on an episode we had, I was so upset that he brought her up. And he didn't know my disdain for her. Oh man. But I'm just like, how how do you tell me how your brain functions? I need to understand what your perspective is.
I can say this is I'm only 2 generations removed from pretty much the border of Kentucky and West Virginia, where, and I joke about this on my show. I'm sure Kels has heard this, but it's not very far off from the truth. Is that my family tree looks more like a telephone pole. We came there's.
Why does everybody in West Virginia say that? Is it really true? Like that's what it is? Like y'all cousins get together?
I won't. Here's the thing. I'm actually not going to crack on that. I crack on Appalachia, and the truth is in reality, all of America is only several generations removed from not being able to travel very far without vehicles. And of course, people were, let's be honest, intermingling with their relatives, whether they knew it or not. It's like at some point, second cousins seemed like a long distance away, and somewhere turned into first cousin. But at the end of the day, I come from 2 generations ago. My parents came from towns that only had several hundred people, and they weren't around a lot of things. But these are coal mining towns in Kentucky near the West Virginia border, and I grew up very much in some neighborhoods that I'll give you an example. I went to see, and I won't bring the show down. That's not my intention at all. As far as what a bad thing is this year that happened to me is my sister passed away last month.
Oh,
And
sorry to hear that.
yeah, it was a bit unexpected. She was 55. At the end of the day, however, it wasn't a shock. Let me put it this way. It wasn't a shock, but it was always unexpected. So, but I went because we had a gathering outside, kind of a celebration of life. We weren't able to do the full, the funeral thing, etc., because of COVID. And we had it outside, and we were lucky enough that it was warm enough outside because it was in November, the week before Thanksgiving. And next door to us, and this is where I grew up for about 30 years, I guess I grew up until I was from about 8 years old to 20. I grew up in this house. And next door, I shit you not, there are 2 homeless people living in the backyard, and there's a trailer parked out back, and the house next door, instead of a curtain, they have, do you know Gizmo from Gremlins?
Yeah.
Mhm.
They have an old Gizmo sheet over their windowsill. I grew up in a very interesting part of town. We'll just put it that way.
All right.
And I think the thing is it wasn't, obviously I'll never understand the Black experience, but I do understand the very economically repressed experience. Kind of some people that, as you'd mentioned, people that don't come from money, and sometimes to people, at least in my experience, in that it was very socioeconomically depressed, and people that work against their own best interest and work against things because they don't care to take the time to learn. They start believing what they hear without doing any research.
Right.
And that's a very unfortunate thing. And even during that celebration of life, hearing things and being part of things where I really just wanted to reach around and as a have you ever seen the Wayne Brady on Dave Chappelle? It's one of my favorites. Yeah. Yeah. I was totally like, am I gonna have to choke a bitch? And I was just like, no, I just repressed all the anger and realized it was the wrong situation. But I was, just to see people make the same mistake repeatedly out of, in this case, in the case that I'm talking about, ignorance and just unwillingness to learn and unwillingness to educate yourself. It's very depressing. It's just disheartening.
Yeah. Well,
that has been a lot of my frustration, and that, I guess that's why I haven't had as close contact with people who have clearly drawn a line in the sand as far as like, I refuse to hear, like, they're just fingers in their ears. I refuse to hear anything that doesn't come from Fox News or Joe Rogan or Trump himself or Mitch McConnell or whatever conservative talk radio that, that they listen to. Or I only listen to things from the left. And I'm like, but it's not a left or right issue. It's a human issue.
You're 100% right. And that's the thing is that parts of my family are very much willing to take advantage of government assistance, and I've seen them do it. And it's very disheartening to watch and to go, you're the reason why people believe that people are just going to steal money from the government when they're offered help. That's not the case. The case is some people need help, and some people don't have those opportunities that everyone else has. But when you see people taking advantage of it, as people that you're related to, you're like, I can understand why some people believe or want to believe what they want to believe, because you're the reason. You're not helping yourself, and you're not even trying to help yourself, and you're being given an opportunity to better yourself, and you're not taking advantage of it, or you're taking advantage. You're not taking advantage of the opportunity. You're taking
advantage of the assistance, right? And
yes, and it's just troubling, and it's hard to defend sometimes, because you see people take advantage of it firsthand, and you know it happens. But then you see people that need help, and people that don't have opportunities, and people that have lost a job and they just need a month of assistance or 2 months of assistance, and that 1 month that they don't get, it puts them on the street, or it puts them so far behind they'll never catch up,
Right.
or they'll have a health problem that they can't do anything about because they don't have insurance. Those are the things that as a society and I see commercials. I think one of the most troubling commercials I see, and it's supposed to be a very heartwarming commercial, it's about helping the homeless in Tennessee and giving assistance or something to the homeless. I'm like, we shouldn't have homeless fucking people anyway. But I mean, it's almost like a mirror of, it's supposed to make you feel like, oh, let's go give a few dollars to the homeless. At the end of the day, why the fuck are people homeless to begin with?
Yeah. You're right, because you look at all the shit we have, right? All the shit we have access to and everything. There shouldn't be anybody homeless. There shouldn't be anybody hungry. But yet,
Right.
and a lot of it I attribute to probably mental illness, mental health, illness.
That is.
And that's a whole
addiction.
That's a whole different conversation. Mm-hmm. But for all the bullshit that we throw money at and all the stuff that we do, this should be the last issue that we have in our country, homelessness and hunger.
Yeah.
So, am I glad that Trump is gone? Yes, I will say that. He's not the best person, but he's not the right person for this job. I'll say that. But I really, to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to be any different under Biden. It's going to be a different coat of paint on the same house. That's it, man. And until
all he wants to do is just keep the car moving. That's all he wants to do.
And I really hope that our country doesn't take our eye off the ball. And we're in this really great, good feeling time now. It's like, because notice, as soon as Biden was kind of declared the victor, all the bullshit just kind of calmed down. You didn't see no crazy shit on the news.
I'll say this. I try, and I've always tried to do this, is I try to read as much Fox News as I read CNN, and I get my real news from Reuters. Mm-hmm. And you can always get, if you can sift through the bullshit, you can get a lot of good information out of Twitter. At the end of the day, it feels as or more chaotic now than it has ever, because there is this groundswell of, there's still a lot of people that believe that Donald Trump is going to be our president on the 21st of January.
Yes.
And it's a real number of people. And I thought it was Twitter at first, because I don't fuck around with the Facebooks too much.
He will be the president until noon, and then they're going to kick his ass out. He'll be the president until noon, but after that,
the 21st. I think the 20th he'll leave at noon. So yeah, at the end of the day, there are a lot of people that really believe a lot of the shit they've heard, even though lawsuits have pretty much been shown. It's been taken to court. There's he won 1 out of 60 or more court cases.
Oh my gosh,
people are nuts. And at the end of the day, is people can say what they want to about Donald Trump. At the end of the day, he wasn't ever the issue. The issue was all he did was, you can have an argument whether you thought he was a good president or a bad president. I'm not going to get into that political discussion, but what I will say is he turned on the lights and allowed a lot of people to show their true colors after 8 years of Obama, and people felt one way and were almost afraid to say that publicly, but once they were allowed to say it, they not only said it, they they said it loudly and proudly and very interestingly. I'll try to pick my words selectively here.
Well, I think with him, he's a necessary evil, right? Because if we didn't have him in office, we would be going through the same thing with the same blinders on, not seeing, the whole thing of wake up, being woke and stuff. If he wasn't, if he wasn't the man at the head of the snake, right? If he wasn't the head of the snake, we would have never seen this. And we would just be going about our lives just as normal. So you don't think so? I don't know. Leah, take a look at it, right? So you look at, Trayvon Martin, you look at everything that led up to everything with George Floyd. We had a black president in office.
Yeah.
Nothing changed. Nothing changed. Our people were still dying, at the hands of, of cops and law enforcement, all this stuff. And Trump basically being in the position he was in, it made us take a look at ourselves like, okay, they're not going to help us. We have to do it for ourselves. We have to make the change ourselves. And that's the way, I see it that way. And I think,
okay.
People, that's just my opinion, so go ahead. Hey, Mike, say it, Leah.
She's ready. She's been sitting on it.
Go ahead.
No, I feel that Trump's position has definitely emboldened people. Like you both said, when right before and even up until maybe a week or two ago, when they were like, okay, for the 7th time, Biden is the president-elect. People up until then, people were still had their Trump flags out, and they felt emboldened to talk crazy to people. And I think that hearing it from, because when Obama was president, it was always turn the other cheek.
Yes.
Talk quietly, make sure that you're not aggravating the situation. When Trump became president, Trump is like, shoot him in the leg, punch him in the face, like violence, and violence begat more violence. Right. And we knew that it was happening. And I think the difference is not just, I think it was a culmination of a few things. People had time because people weren't working. Right. They were at home. They had social media. Cameras were out. And it was like, oh, everybody look at this man being choked to death. He's being murdered on the internet. Our children are looking at a black man be murdered on their phones, not on TV, not at some random, no. This is happening in real time. You know what I mean? Mm. And I think that a culmination of everybody being home, everybody having actual time to see this, and then hearing from our leader, he didn't do anything wrong. What are you talking about? It was like, okay, we can't wait for anybody else to take action. We actually have to take action. And that's when I think we got the white allies, or I don't know what term they're being used, that's being used right now. Whatever the opposite of the Karens are. Right. And they're like, oh snap, things are actually bad for y'all. Like even in the Breonna Taylor case, Michael Strahan did an interview with the officer who was pretty much let off. It said that, it was the bullet that didn't hit the apartment that he got in trouble for, right? When he said, we don't racially profile people. We criminally profile people. Well, what does that mean? Well, if they look away, or if they don't maintain eye contact, or if they look shifty. Well, have you looked at the way the police interact with our community? Yeah. We have no reason to be comfortable with you here. Right. So, of course, we're going to be uncomfortable when you approach us fully armed in military gear when we're just marching or protesting. Yeah. So I think that it wasn't just Trump emboldening a community. I think that we had realized that we can't wait for, who was it? And I just did a report on him. I'm trying to remember his name. It was the Atlanta Compromise. W.E.B. Du Bois supported him initially, and then W.E.B. Du Bois said, nah, we got to do this ourselves. Oh, what's his name? Oh, Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington said that we had to learn how to serve the Southern whites and just show them our value, and they'll leave us alone. But what happened after that is there was an increase in violence. And because there was an increase in violence against the Black community, W.E.B. Du Bois said, no, we need to fight back legally and in the streets. So it was go get your education, learn how to fight in court, learn how to change policies, but also like arm up, protect yourself.
Right. And
so I think that's where we got to in this. I
said that's what Malcolm X was saying as well.
Yeah. And it's not, and that's what the Black Panther Party did. It wasn't that it was, we need to show force for the sake of being the big brutish group. No, it was protection, because the Black Panther Party wasn't just about open carry. They had food programs, they had school programs, they had actual programs for the community where they were helping people make sure, hey, y'all kids got breakfast? Come on in. We'll make sure you get breakfast before you go to school.
Right.
Do you need transportation? Do you need protection here? Like, oh, these officers are following us here. Let's go ahead and protect them. Yeah. So I think that now people can't deny, which they have been able to, especially when Obama was in office. And I'm not saying that he did a terrible job, but having someone to settle the country when it's like, look, Trayvon Martin happened. Are we ready to rise up? No. Listen, let the law take its course. Let's do this, blah, blah. But when you have a leader in there who's like, nah, he murdered that man. Let him do it. And let him murder more because we need to get him out of here. It's like, nah, now we got to fight back.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, that's a heavy what the fuck moment for the year. I know. Look, we went down that rabbit hole, and it was a good conversation. And Mike Carroll, and I've known Mike Carroll for a while. Like I said, me and him served. Carol Baskins is not his mother. I can say that. He's sitting there trying to mess with somebody.
He may have gotten adopted in the last 15 minutes. You don't know that. You don't know.
But no, but and it is what it is, and I'm just glad that like you said, Mike, like it shined the light on everything, and it was necessary, and as painful as it is to shine that light, and then for America to take a look in the mirror, and then us as Black people, like, what are we doing in this fight? What are we doing? Because we can't depend on the next person to do it for us. And, we have to stand up and make that change, at least be the catalyst for that change. But I think—
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I cannot stand the phrase, I am not my grandparents, you will catch these hands. As if—
It's disrespectful. Isn't that so disrespectful?
Oh, okay. So, Mike, let me tell you something.
Okay, yeah, this is a new one to me. I'm sorry.
Okay, so, all right, so you in history class, I'm sure during Black History Month in one of your classes, you were taught about MLK.
I'm so old. There was no Black History Month when I went to high school. I'm 49, so.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, no one.
I would have never guessed that.
Okay. I had no idea you were that old, man. For real.
Yeah, I'm 49, man. I'm old as shit.
I know you say your sister was 55, and I was like, maybe there was like you were surprised, maybe. Yeah. I feel like maybe there was a surprise. But in school we're taught MLK, we're taught Malcolm X, and we're taught that Black people were attacked with dogs while protesting. Okay, what fire hoses and dogs, and the police were like shooting, beating, whatever. Right? In those things, it looked like it was presented as if we were passively accepting the brutality that was forced upon us for us just wanting rights. Okay. So some person, don't know who it is, because I just really want to have a conversation with this person, started saying this, I am not my grandparents, you can catch these hands, as if to say our grandparents did not fight.
Yeah.
Or did not stand their ground.
Because it was way different then. Like it was like you would disappear. Your family.
Yeah, I mean, I know that much.
Yeah. So it's like, to say that, and even my grandfather, who my dad's father was in the military, he was in the Navy, and my mom's grandfather, because my grandmother would talk about it all the time, and so did my mom's side, but they had to deal with so much. Like, we have microaggressions now because they can't be overtly racist in an office setting. So we have like the microaggressions where it's like, oh, why is your hair like that? Or, oh, let me touch your hair. Or,
Do that shit,
oh, do
seriously.
you use lotion? Oh, what
I
kind of
mean,
lotion do you? Oh, what is that
seriously.
smell? Why do you cook this way?
Seriously, Leah, do people still say that shit to this
Hey,
day?
Yeah. Do you
hey,
know how many people in a day ask to touch my hair?
Mike, I
Like
got
I'm a dog or something?
Mike,
Yes.
I don't know. I'm honestly asking.
No, I got an episode that covered all of that. I had two. I had a African American male and female on that talked about that in the corporate environment. And the same thing goes on today, man. It's wild.
Yeah. Where do you get your hair from? What kind of hair is this? Why do you talk like that?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all these microaggressions that we deal with, and it's like, but you can be called the N-word to your face and nothing would happen to these people, and you had to deal with it in overt racist way, like from these people, where they're just like, oh, it's okay. That's why you hear about the Harvey Weinsteins. He's been getting away with it for years because that's just how they did it. And now all of a sudden, I'm not my grandparents. You can catch these hands. You could never be in your grandparents' shoes.
Right,
That phrase just pisses me off. Like, it's so disrespectful to the previous generation who did so much to fight to make sure that we have the rights that we have today. Because we didn't just like, oh, we granted citizenship and we get all like the bounty of what we created in America. No, like there was so much fighting that had to be done. And so for somebody to trivialize what our ancestors went through as if they didn't, like all the revolts, I'm like, y'all are crazy. Yeah. I'm sorry. I just had to
gotta calm down. We gotta keep the show moving, man.
I'm sorry. I just had to get that out. I was just that when I saw this, I was like, y'all making these into shirts? Oh my gosh. What is wrong with y'all?
All right, look. So that was only supposed to be like a 15-minute session, like a portion. So we got to talk about the hope, right? The good stuff that's still out there. The good stuff we gleaned from this year. So, Mike, Leah, I'll let you go first on this one. and
always go first.
So what was, we could talk about the bad all day, right?
Right.
What was something good that came out of this year that
y'all, it has been, honestly, even though like people dog 2020 and it's just like the time between January and December, a lot happened. It did. Personally speaking, it has been a pretty great year for me. I'm pretty good. Like, I realize that there's going to be some ebbs and flows because there's some times where I'm very extroverted. I like being around people. And when we went into quarantine, which some of us are still in, I think, get it together. But, but being in quarantine, like those months spent by myself, I was literally like calling the helpline. So, hey, I need somebody to talk to because I've been just like video chatting. I haven't hugged a single person in like 3 months and I'm freaking out. But I started a business in March. I started a podcast in July. I've met super dope people between July and December. I've been able to be on shows. I've had guests come on shows. I mean, I have been connected in ways that I thought were never possible, and been able to I actually was able to wrap up the first season of Champions of Discourse Debate This, which is a debate show to help people learn how to articulate arguments and to be critical thinkers. This year has been pretty great. It's on a grand scale, it looks like, man, from a high level, so much has happened to the US, but it's like y'all did this to yourselves. But personally speaking, this has been a really great year for me.
Okay.
It has been a great year. And last year I told myself that I wouldn't be spending New Year's alone because I spent New Year's and Christmas alone last year. And this year I'm actually was able to drive down here in one shot. Surprisingly, it was like 17 hours. It's a lot. But I've been able to spend it with my family. And so it has been, even though it seems tumultuous and oh man, March lasted maybe 17 years. March was a very. I was like, it's still March.
Yo, March.
Oh my gosh, why is it still March? But no lie, it has been a great year. 2021. I'm taking it like one day at a time, 1 month at a time.
We're jumping questions.
I'm sorry.
All right.
But I'm just saying there's a lot to look forward to because this year has been like awesome for me.
All right. What you got, Mike? What was something good that came out of the year, that you've seen or experienced?
Mike had quadruplets. He met Carol Baskins. He was on The Masked Singer. It was a lot. Mike did a lot this year.
He was on The Masked
Singer.
Yeah. You know what? You may not know it, but I actually was the 12th man for the Lakers this year. I never got to play. So I got a ring here. I hopefully you saw that as fast as we could.
No, that was a good story too. The bubble. That was a good story. How that
So yeah, as far as this year, unfortunately, see, you let Leah go first and she stole my story. So I got to come up with a whole bunch of other shit here off the top of it. But no, seriously, one of the things, and I want to thank you personally, Kels, and I know it's your show, so I know it sounds like I'm being a big blowhard. No. But at the end of the day, I started a podcast with my wife, actually. I started a podcast in February with a friend that went off the fucking rails because of COVID. I started a podcast with my wife. We were having a blast. And then I wanted to kind of start the Wack Brackets thing. So I did my first few episodes with my family. And I don't know if I reached out to you or you reached out to me, but somehow or another, you were the first guest I ever interviewed remotely. And I was scared to death. I'd never done anything like that. And you brought in a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of fun. And I was like, I bet there's more people like him out here. So I just kind of like turned my podcast.
Don't be fooled, man. No,
actually, surprisingly, you'd be surprised. I've been
I know.
been very fortunate with my podcast is that I've met several metric fuck tons of great people. Not met one bad person on my podcast. It's really turned into a show where I get to like interview people from other podcasts and just be goofy with them, and everybody's having a fun time. But I've met so many great people. I was down in Florida just in November, and I wanted to come over and say hey, but obviously COVID was bad, but we also had some other stuff going on, and I wanted to do a social distancing thing, at least say hello, and I wasn't able to do that, and I apologize for that. But you kind of gave me, in that regard, that kind of jump start to do what I've done with my podcast. So I just wanted to thank you personally.
Oh, nice!
Yay! Yeah, that was a really a good thing, and some of the other good things that I really think that that have happened this year are home haircuts. Because,
oh my goodness. Go ahead, man. I'm gonna jump on that after you finish. Go ahead.
All right, because I'll be honest with you now. This is a professional, Great Clips quality haircut. So this cost a good with tip $16, I think, which is
nice.
That's what I like to spend. But because I'm cheap as shit. But my wife cut my hair once and it didn't look too bad. She's cutting her own hair now. I think I'm gonna let her cut my hair. Hey, home haircuts are cool. The other thing that I think has been great this year that is I spent a lot more time with my kids.
Yes.
Because at least my family, we take the socializing thing pretty seriously. We did, as Kels knew, we went down to Universal Studios, which sounds crazy until you realize that I'm in Tennessee. And COVID here is absolutely off the fucking rails. And I told him that. I was like, it's worse here before it was worse in the world. He was like, it's worse in Florida. I was like, nah, you guys get a bad rap. A lot of it's deserved. But no, Tennessee is fucking insane. People here, and I shit you not, when I was in Orlando, I went to Publix and Universal Studios. They did a relatively good job of making sure everybody was masked up and social distanced, and it was better than you'd expect. And we didn't have to eat inside at all. I don't eat inside now anyway, but you were able to eat outside every day because it's warm. And get back here, and I shit you not, the day I got back here, we went to Kroger. I saw more people in a Kroger. I probably saw about 30 people. I saw more people without masks in my local Kroger than I saw the entire time inside when I'd had to go to Publix 4 or 5 times when I was in Orlando. So It's crazy here. But yeah, home haircuts. I kind of went off the chain there. But yeah, home haircuts are great. Harry Styles dressing like a chick. I think that's awesome. Have you
All right.
seen that on Vogue magazine? I think it's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
You
I
know
mean,
what? At the end of the day, you know what? Every pair of clothes is they say, oh, you're wearing women's clothes. It's like, am I man? Am I man? Yeah. What's men's clothes now? So fuck. You know what? It's just clothes. Good for that guy. Uh, you know, and and personally, to kind of again hijack a little bit off Leah is I've had a really good year. I have actually today turned in my official resignation to my job,
all right.
and I am going to go back to working on my own personal shit that I've had a horse racing game online for 20 some years, and I'm going to work on that for a while, and I'm also going to work on some other computer related shit that I've been wanting to get to for years. So it took me a long time to get back to it, but I did it right before the end of this year. So I'm excited to get back to that. So been a great year for me, even though there's been a lot of bad, obviously with the COVID.
Right.
But fortunately, I think I mentioned my stepson. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. He gave me a congratulations. But as I mentioned, my stepson, I think, had COVID, and he has COVID right now. But it's a minor case. Fortunately, the rest of my family has been able to avoid it. We've been pretty diligent about that, even though you wouldn't believe that considering we went to Orlando. But like I said, we played very safe there. We didn't eat inside at all. We really we rode the rides, etc. We did the hand sanitizer, and I felt as safe or safer there than I do here on a daily basis in Nashville, around
All right.
Nashville.
All right. So for me, something that I really enjoyed and kind of took my mind off of like everything that was kind of surrounding us was in I believe it was May or June, The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan Bulls documentary that came out. Man, I was glued to the TV to that thing. I was crying. I mean,
that seems like so many years ago.
I know, right?
I almost forgot that came out this year.
But it was
Oh my
so
gosh.
dope. And it took me back to like, different stages of my life when I actually saw this shit happening. And I was like, man, I remember I was doing this. I was this, this old when this happened. And, when his father died, he retired. Like, I remember I was living in Japan when that happened. And it was just so cool to re-see it, revisit it. And, at 40 years old versus, 15, 13 or so ever. And, that I really enjoyed that. Something else I really enjoyed was, like you said, Mike, like time with your kids. My son comes down in the summer, man, and usually like, due to work, I would only have like a week to like really hang tough with him, like at the beginning, and then I take another week in August before he would leave. I had the whole summer to kick it with this dude, my 15-year-old son at the time. And, we worked out every morning, we goofed off, and then I would go to work, but he would still be roaming around the house. We play games during a break. And, so, but I had all day to hang out with this dude, right? So you're welcome. Thank you, Mike. So, but yeah, man, like it was just really cool to kind of see him at this stage and really see the things that he's into. And then also with my younger two, just had that time with him because there was a time where I was deployed a lot. And, now that I'm home and working from home, I was with him like more often. And then, more time with the family and my wife. And, we go to the beach or, it'd just be days where we would just break the normal schedule and routine and just hang out, man. So that family time was like invaluable. I think that was the biggest thing that this whole quarantine, COVID, this whole experience, it made you hold your family that much closer.
Yeah.
And look back at the time you didn't have like, damn, that was, I was fucking up, and, maybe you want to be a better father, maybe you want to be a better friend because, you got people going on, going through things all over, and you have no idea until you talk to them. So it just made me want to just be a better person. And we started a business in April. The Culture Marauders, business is a business now. The podcast, just meeting y'all and reconnecting with people, connecting with people, having them on shows, being guests on their shows. It was just a really, really cool experience. And I think COVID makes you take a step back and kind of refocus and see what it is that you want to do, and just go after that. So I really enjoyed that. After everything kind of settled down, I think seeing the humanity in the world, seeing how the world was reacting to what we were going through in the United States, right?
Yeah.
I think humanity, that was really, really cool to see. And, I really enjoyed seeing, like, the outpouring of love, not just in the United States for people, the allies or the bizarro Karens, as you were talking about, but just to see, the world, just kind of be like, you know what, fuck this, we're all one blood, right? And just trying to just like, get a wrangle, wrangle on this shit, man, and just try to be better. So I really enjoy seeing that. It's just been a hell of an education, this year, just seeing all of it unfold, and it's going to be a part of our history that it's going to be so influential on how we go forward from this point on. Like when the clock strikes on New Year's Eve and the New Year, like, where do we go from here? So I just took in everything. So, that's what I got out of it. So, I don't really have the worst moment, it just had to be just the whole George Floyd thing, man. It was just so overtly just hateful, it was just overtly hateful. And, for me, that was my worst part of the year, but everything else, hey, pretty okay. Like you said, Leah. So, and just take it from there. Like you said, one day at a time. So next question, right? So what do you hope for 2021? Let's go, Mike. You go first.
You know what? I hope that I don't go broke. I'm trying to run my own business here. I mean, honestly, it's I know that's selfish of me to be on myself, but yeah, it's a big step. When you quit your job and make the full-time commitment to go back into trying to do what you enjoy. And when I told my boss that I quit, and I love my boss, I really do. So I'm sure he's not watching, and he'll probably never see this. But at the end of the day, I do have a lot of respect for the guy. But yeah, I respect the guy and I love the guy. And the hardest part about quitting my job was honestly quitting my boss, because you don't always get a good boss, and I was lucky enough to get one. So at the end of the day, to quit something that wasn't bad, that was providing for your family, but to take that kind of leap, that leap of faith, and hope that you can do better. And I'm 50. Like I said, I'll be 50 in September. And at some point, if you never take that leap again, then what are you living for? You got to take those risks sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that, and I'm hopeful for that. If you invite me on next year, at this time, I may be like, oh, what's the worst part? Quitting my job and trying to run my own business.
Why did I do that? Yeah.
Hopefully that's not the case.
Damn.
But no, that's what I'm hopeful for. We'll put it that way. And again, I know that's a bit selfish, but it's on my mind, so I just thought I'd be honest about it.
All right. Yeah. Appreciate it. What you got, Leah?
One thing I hope for in 2021, like Mike says, to not go broke, and I think that I'm trying to go for broke. Okay. I have played it pretty safe. Even doing the show that's up on YouTube, or doing the podcast, and even like I just started a new podcast with another couple of guys that I interact with, because we watch horror movies, and it's not a lot of Black people who just like, oh, let's get together and watch horror movies. Mm-hmm. In 2021, I really want to hone in and focus on my passion, which is public speaking and debate. And I just really want to be able to quit my job. Really, that's really what I hope for in 2021, where I can actually, not just survive, but make a living doing what I love. So, Champions of Discourse takes off, I'll be set. So that's what I'm hoping for in 2021. I hope that when we come back together again at the end of the year, I can say, hey, y'all, guess what? I quit.
You'd be too popular. You're like, I don't know these losers.
Whatever. Because you were like Mike said, you were one of my like the first 5 people that I've had outside of friends and family that actually, you know, did a show with me. And you were probably, oh, thanks, Mike. And at that point, it was just so dope to talk to someone who is more than just, well, I only see things from this perspective. Like, you have such a diverse background that allows you to not only know where you stand and hold true in that, but also be able to understand the perspective of other people. Like, oh, I can understand how you would get to that point, but I see things like this. Right. And being able to respectfully have those kinds of conversations is, especially in this time, very necessary. So I just want to be able to have more of that, and hopefully be able to, I like what Mike said, you know, how may I serve you? And being able to find what frustrates you in the world, because that's typically your passion, which is the way people talk.
You said hype man for hire.
I need your rates. I need your rates. You know, whatever you find is your frustration in the world is typically your passion. And the way people talk a lot of times frustrates me, and I found out it's because I'm very passionate about it. And so yeah, that's what I'm hoping for in 2021. Just be great in that.
All right. So for me, and you know, I guess it's due to the, you know, the world I came from prior to the civilian world, and that's the military world, where I served with Mike on here, Mike Carroll. And you know, like you said, what he said, his motto for the next year is "How may I serve you?" And I think me and my wife, we've been so lucky and so, you know, blessed with everything that we've been able to, you know, work for and acquire, and things we've been able to do, and we just want to give back, you know. And it's how do we make this world a better place? How do we, you know, leave, you know, this world a better place for our kids and for our grandkids, and you know, how do we want to be remembered? You know,
yeah.
So just doing good, being good people, just not taking ourselves too seriously, and just enjoying the world that we live in, and just trying to make it a better place, and having fun, man. Like for me, if I'm not having fun, it ain't worth doing, because it feels like work. So, you know, I'll be goofy, I'll talk some shit, just have some fun, but at the end of the day, it has to be fun and enjoyable. So, you know, I just want to keep doing that. You know, keep spending time with my kids. Watching them develop. You know, me and my wife, you know, we're going heads in, like you were saying, you know, going all in on your business venture, and me and my wife are doing the same. We're launching the Culture Marauders network here really soon.
Yay!
Yeah, so it's something that, you know, we've been kind of dangling out there a little bit, but now we're full bore with, you know, the website will be coming soon. We're going to be recruiting shows, hint, hint, wink, wink to YouTube. So, you know, and any other creators that are out there looking for a home to showcase their talent and their brands and stuff, and looking to grow. Yes, a shameless plug on my own show. But so, you know, that's what we got coming in, and you know, we just want to do well, help people, and just keep it moving, and just seeing where we can go with this whole Culture Marauders thing. And I like meeting people. So this COVID shit has to wrap up so I can get back out. I can go to Tennessee, see Mike. You know, come down there, see you, Leah, and you know, we can just connect and start building it and having fun and really taking this podcast thing, you know, to different levels. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And just a sense of, I mean, I know shit isn't going to be perfect, but just a sense, fool me again, right? Give me a false sense of like security, you know, just everybody just be cool for a little bit, you know, and that's all I need. So that's what I'm looking forward to in 2021. So. All right, so we are in the home stretch, right? So, what are your plans for New Year's Eve? What y'all got planned?
Leah, you go
ahead. we got an idea, Mike. We already got an idea, but let's move on. Go ahead.
I mean, you know, stay hydrated, have a good time.
Carol Baskin.
I'm hoping to my brother-in-law actually got this tequila, and I need to go get it again. It's like $50 for the bottle. And I was like, I feel like I can just spend that and enjoy a whole, like
the whole bottle.
I mean, not by myself. At least
you
half.
13 shots without a problem. I think you got this.
I don't believe you. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe you. You're going to drink the whole damn thing.
First of all, what you're not going to do is make me out to be an alcoholic.
You made yourself out to be that.
Listen. Just because I have youth on my side does not mean that the two of you need to come at me like I don't know how to live life.
You got 90 years of knowledge over here, man. Between the two of us, we're damn near a century. We got you covered.
He said this make your dookie twinkle.
If I'm not out doing fireworks, then I'll probably be drinking and singing and having a good time with the fam.
Oh, all right. That's cool. What you got, Mike?
I got jack and shit to do. We don't even have a plan. We're probably.
Do you stay up for the countdown anymore?
We did. What are you saying? God damn!
I'm just asking. I feel like after 40, look, it's gonna come either way, so I don't need to stay up anymore.
Ooh, nice.
It's past my bedtime. I gotta go to bed now. I'll see you. You know what? Actually, if it were up to me, we probably wouldn't. I think we did last year. We might stay up for the countdown. Pretty much our only plan is I'm probably gonna go get a 12-pack of beer over there and try to down that, and then that's going to be it. My wife and I'll try to down a 12-pack of beer. That's as exciting as we're going to get. You know, these are crazy times. We won't exhaust the listener. I would say listeners. We may only have one person, a Mike here. Thank you, Mike. But
appreciate you, Mike.
Hey, I'll tell you.
I won't exhaust said listener. And with COVID stuff, I'm 35 and I'm struggling to start up my calls to drop. I mean, I don't even know. Yeah, long and short.
Balls.
There we go. Now it makes sense. Okay, yeah.
Balls.
I'm glad I didn't understand.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, thank you. Well, good luck on those balls dropping this year. And at the end of the day, yeah. COVID has fucked up the entire year. Why not fuck up the new year too? But honestly, we stayed at home last year. We stayed at home the year before. We have had people over the last couple of years. We probably won't have anyone over this year. It's probably just going to be the two of us, and we'll probably watch. Dick Clark's not alive anymore. Who is it now? Carson Daly, I guess.
Is it? I thought it was Ryan. What's that? Seacrest.
Yeah.
Long as Ryan carries on there drunk, acting an ass, I'll watch it.
Yeah, it's gonna be what it is. So that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, old boring people do old boring things. So that's.
I mean, I've been called old and boring because New Year's Day I watch reruns of Twilight Zone. So
that's better than a lot of things.
Yeah.
So you know what's gonna be real trippy, right? So we're sitting there talking like New Year's is gonna be like the New Year's we know. Times Square is gonna be empty as shit.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be weird. So hey, happy 2021. Right? So yeah, that's gonna be weird. So yeah. For me, what the hell are we doing? Oh, we're going there's a spot called Snowcat Ridge, and it's like a man-made like ski slope or sledding slope out here in Tampa. So we're gonna go to that, take the kids. They got a little snowball action happening out there. So we're gonna do that, get some pizza, get drunk, and probably pass out. So that's not the kids, but you know, me and my wife. So we'll just.
I mean, some people want to start their kids early. I no judgment.
My dad did. I got to drink beer when I was like 12 or 13, and
I think I was like 16 when I started. But Leah, I'm not gonna give my 5 and 7-year-old booze. All right, sit down, please. It's a family show here, Leah.
Just a little bit to wet the beak. Just to wet the beak.
Rub it on the So, hey, we got one more piece of business to hand out and discuss before we wrap it up for the year, right? So this is something I came up with like yesterday afternoon. I was like, hey, why not a Marauder of the Year? They got an award for everything else. So let's see, you know, who was that person, that guy or gal for the year, right? There was a lot of people out there, right? A lot of people out there who were deserving of the Marauder of the Year. The first ever, might I add, Marauder of the Year award. So without further ado, the Marauder of the Year is Donald Trump. You know what? I know, right? It pained me, right, to do this. But I actually had to sit down and like think, like, who else could take our country and turn it into the world's biggest reality show, and make us be the world's like laughing stock, and the world is like viewing in on what we're doing and be like, what the fuck is going on over there? Like, who else could do that, right? Who else could
Your
turn
governor?
him too, but he is a puppet of Trump. So, you know, it was John Maxwell, man, and he's like one of the leading voices on leadership and out there. And he said something that stuck with me. The first thing I said, he said, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less, right? And this dude is able to influence everybody. I don't know how he does it. He's like the dude off Wonder Woman, right? Like, make me a wish. What do you wish for? What do you wish for? You know, and he'll grant it. And it's just the influence and there's like y'all were saying, there's people still to this day who are like, yep, he's gonna be president still. You know, he's not going nowhere. So, you know, and
this baby. Oh man,
Mike, look, hey, but he's it, man. This dude has dominated the headlines all year long. All year long.
the entire presidency.
Exactly.
The entire president. You could not go a day without knowing he's the president.
Exactly. So I got to give it to him. And, you know, Dr. Fauci was almost there. I almost put Dr. Anthony Fauci there, but I mean, even he eclipsed this dude. You know, and it's just, you know, I'm not a fan. I'm not going to talk bad about him. You know, it is what it is. We all know what he's done, what type of person he is. Whatever. That's fine. But he is my 2020 Marauder of the Year. So a fucked up year. We're working with a fucked up person. There it is. Donald Trump. Congrats. So yeah. So that is it. That is our Culture Marauders end of year wrap up. So we had Mike Wallace from Wack Brackets and Leah Johnson from Take Up Space podcast who joined us. So, you know, thank you, for spending your Wednesday night with me and, you know, just digging in and having some fun and offering some perspectives. So, you know,
of course.
Before we let you get out of here, where can we find y'all?
You go first, Leah.
You're good.
Okay. Well, thank you. I like having women privilege in this patriarchal society.
That's it. Nope.
No, I'm going first then. You can find me. No, seriously, Lee, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much for having me, Kels. I truly appreciate it. As always, it's always a good time when we link up. Mm-hmm. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Take Up Space Pod. That's Take Up Space POD. And I'm probably most active on Instagram and Twitter. And we recently joined Clubhouse. So if you have an iPhone and you want to just talk about whatever, we have joined Clubhouse. It's amazing. We have great conversations throughout the day. And you talk with people like it's almost like Twitter except talking.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. But yeah, we drop every Tuesday and go live every Thursday. And it's just been great. So if you want to join in on learning to take up space in your relationships and become more self-aware, you know, just rock who you are. Join us and it will be great to have you.
All right, there it is.
All right, I guess it's my turn. So I am also on all the normal social media platforms. I am on the Facebooks and the Tweeters and the Instagrams at Wack Brackets. You can reach me there. You can also reach me on email, anything at Wack Brackets. You can send it to Kels wears dirty underwear 4 times at wackbrackets.com. I swear to God, that's not a joke. I will get that. You can send it to Mike likes dirty sheets at wackbrackets.com. I will get that as well. Send me something. Tell me what I screwed up on this show. Tell me what I screw up on a lot of shows. Request Leah on my show. Request Kels on my show. We'll have a fun time. But yeah, that's it. As far as where you can reach my podcast, it generally drops on Monday. Sometimes I'll drop a special episode on Thursday, but those are on all your social media platforms where you get good and notably bad podcasts, including the Apples and the Spotifys and the whatever the hell else there is, Podcast Addicts and the Stitchers and the Poop Shoots. Yeah. If there's a podcast coming out the Poop Shoot, it's probably mine. Check out the Wack Brackets coming out your Poop Shoot.
There it is. Well said, sir. Well said. So, well, that's good. So, hey, that's some news you can use, fellow Marauders out there. Check them out. It's really dope shows. We have good times, and it's some heavy conversation out there. So, not so much on Wack Bracket, but take up space. Heavy conversation. Wack Bracket, you want to wall out? That's the one you want. So, so final thoughts and shout outs. Let's go with the shout outs. Final thoughts. Mike, go ahead.
You know what? Shout out to Kells, of course, for having me on. Shout out to Leah.
Great.
Shout out to Leah. It's great to meet you. This has been a fun time. Shout out to other podcasters that are on my show. Of course, the Center Cut. Shout them out everywhere. Trashy, Mustachio Podcastio, Unreal Prognosis, Damn Fine TV. I've got like 30 of these guys, like I said, and I shit you not. I've not met a bad person. Almost everybody I've met on my podcast, I really keep in touch with almost on the regular. Everybody's been a great person. This is such a great community, and I'm just excited to be a part of it, and excited that people allow me to come on the show like you have, and so many others have before you. And just thanks again, Kels.
Hey, no problem. I feel like a deadbeat because it took this long to get y'all back on, but hey, I appreciate y'all. So go ahead, Leah.
No, life happens. First of all, absolutely shout out to Kels. I appreciate you for putting this together, having us on. Thank you so much for allowing me to meet Mike. This has been a great time. I definitely
that's what you got to do. You got to do Wack Brackets.
I'm definitely gonna hit you up. I think I fritted you earlier when I saw that we were tagged in the same post, and I was like, oh, who's this person? Let me go ahead and follow them. So I followed you earlier. Definitely will be reaching out. Shout out to my co-host, Kayla Byers, who is one of I have rotating co-hosts, but she's like the main co-host for the show. And to all of the people who have supported me this year, to the Dis fam, the Potter family. If I start naming people, I'm going to forget. So if you fall in that category, I appreciate you. Whether you are a supporter, part of the Pardon family, one of the followers, I definitely appreciate you. So, shout out to 2020 for being as ratchet and tumultuous as you've been all year. But I also appreciate that I've been able to do the self-work to get through this almost emotionally intact.
Baskin, Mike says.
I knew it was coming.
Who definitely allegedly killed her husband.
Allegedly.
Well, cool. So I got man. Usually this takes me a while, so grab a Snickers. So final thoughts, right? So this has been, like I said, one of the more educational years I've ever had in my life, and it was my 40th year. I turned 41 December 6th, but this year turned out way different than I thought. A lot of good, a lot of growth, a lot of learning about myself, a lot of learning about others. It's just been a hell of a ride, man. And I'm going to be able to look back and say, yeah, 2020 is kind of blue, but I think I've become the person I was meant to become, I guess. Not like an Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader type thing, but more like a good person. Well, it depends on
Baby Yoda type thing.
Yeah. Grogu or whatever his name is, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's been really cool, really fun. This podcasting thing, man. I said at the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm gonna go in on it, and really start putting out more consistent stuff and reaching out to people. Every follower, man. I treat them with respect, and if there's a Mike, what?
Mike is going through some things. He is working it out. Mike, I support you. I hope that you get the help that you need. Get it out.
But yeah. So and that's Gator. That's his call sign when we used to do Convoy. So he's a wild dude anyway. So, but he's one of the he's one of the folks that I consider him family. We've been through some things, that a lot of people can't say that they've been through in this life. And he's part of a crew we call the Wild Bunch. And so he's been on the show, sharing his story about his daughter and and her medical struggles and how she's overcome those. So, just good people like that willing to lend their time and share their stories. There's so many out there. I like you said, Lee, if you try to start naming it, you're going to forget people, and I don't want to be disrespectful. But from January up until now, if you've been on the Culture Marauders or you fucked with the Culture Marauders at any point, or intend to, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Have me on your show. You could add anybody else, but you allowed me to come on there and do my thing. So thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to my wife. Man, when this business thing took off, she's jumped in and has become, everything that I've needed and more as far as getting things up and running, looking at websites, all these things that I don't do, right? So she's taking that a lot of that stuff off my plate. A lot of y'all being supportive and everybody out there listening. I always thank, the military members, the service workers, the doctors, the healthcare professionals, everybody out there doing the work. And my heart goes out to the families of those who have lost, any of the over 300,000 people we've lost to this virus. And the others we lost to police brutality, regardless of color. Any of those things, my heart goes out to you and the Culture Marauders, our crew. Just thank you. That's all I can say. And keep rocking. Y'all be safe. And, just let's get ready. Just keep it moving into next year. So rest in peace to those we lost in 2020. Is a long list. I just wanted to point out some names that stick out. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Kobe and Gianna Bryant, and the others who perished on the helicopter crash. Katherine Johnson, one of the ladies who was in the movie Hidden Figures. She was one of the NASA scientists. Sean Connery, John Lewis, civil rights legend. Eddie Van Halen, Jerry Stiller, Ben Stiller's father. I love that dude on Seinfeld. Kenny Rogers, Kirk Douglas, Lil Richard, Diego Maradona, soccer legend from Argentina, and the legendary Chadwick Boseman. So those are just a few that have kind of hit and that have stuck out from the year. So
and my sister passed away just last month. Yeah.
Yes,
and the person took me to my first concert. She took me to a Kiss concert, which in hindsight was a terrible concert.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was 7 years old. I thought it was dope as shit. Gene Simmons spitting fire and shit. But no, my sister, she always meant well. So rest in peace to her as well.
Yes, sir. Well said. And my wife's grandmother just passed. She had COVID, and then it was the pneumonia that hit after. And at 90 years old, just a shout out to a well-lived life full of love and happiness, and that's experience that you can't buy. So shout out to her. So now that I bummed everybody out, so I want to wrap that up with, you got someone you want to maraud on. There's a few ways that you can hit up the Culture Marauders. One being, you can follow us on Instagram at _culture_marauders. That's primarily where I do my dirt, and you'll catch me, in action. What we got? There it is, Ride or Die for Life. There it is. So, hell yeah, man. Appreciate you, Mike.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we got that. You follow us on Instagram, Facebook. At the Culture Marauders, we got the Culture Marauders Network group page. I'll be if you guys are on Facebook, I'll be sending you some invites for that as well. You can see what we're getting up into with this network. And then and if you just want, hey, something you want to hear about, hey, Kels, we want to, hear you talk about this or get somebody on to talk about that. Hit us up at theculturemarauders@gmail.com. And as always, hey, end of the year, please be safe. If you're going to party and, if you're going to drink and drive or do something like that, make sure you got a car. All right. So be safe. Right. So with that, I'm going to leave you with our tagline: one culture, one blood, one love. Peace. Be safe.
See you.